Our rent, I think, was $600 a month. And I actually took an 800-count storage box and wrapped it with packing tape and cut a slot in it like a piggy bank. And every day we'd put $20 in there. So we knew we could pay our rent at the end of the month. And sometimes it was tough. I mean, now it's obscene. It's like multiple warehouses in different parts of the world.
Guys, we are back live from the National once again. We have a very awesome guest today. This is going to be a fun episode as we're going to uncover a lot actually, about the origin story and history of one of the biggest online sellers of sports cards in the entire industry. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an amazing guest, an amazing friend, amazing person. Adam Martin. Adam is one of the owners, the owner now. We'll get into that here in a second. I'm excited for that. But Adam, thank you for coming on the pod.
That was very nice of you, Ryan. Holy cow! I think if I'm ever depressed, I'm gonna call you and have you say nice things about me. No, thank you. Glad to be here.
This is what I've been excited about since you came over. We had this conversation earlier this week, but our story, our connection's been. I've known you for a while. My first ever Panini VIP pass was purchased in this city from you and your team at Dave and Adam. So excited to get into that. But I want to start with, you and who you are and really how we got right here.
All right. So again, it's like simple. I'm Adam Martin. I started this card store called Dave and Adam's. And where this comes from is, in the 1970s, I was actually a big hockey fan. I was a big Buffalo Sabres fan. I grew up in Buffalo.
Yep.
And I'm the only person left in Buffalo who's a bigger Sabres fan than Bills fan. But I love them. I'm 57, so in 1974, my father came home with a pack of Topps hockey cards for me and one for my younger brother. And that was it. I was hooked. We played with them. We knocked a marble around with them. We played a little game. I get a Sabres card out of it. I'd be so excited. And I was an active hockey card collector as a youngster. And I was like, I quit as I got older. I stopped. I paused right before Gretzky's rookie year, so I never got to open any of those. And then I was going to the University of Buffalo. I didn't have a car, and I would walk and/or jog several miles, and I would pass 3 baseball card stores in Buffalo on my way there. And I'm getting a part-time job in one. I loved it. I just sit there and make like 87 Topps hand-collated sets. That was my job. I could sort really fast. Probably can't do it anymore. Liked it. I thought about continuing on with my education and decided, well, I'll open a store. I did a 1-year lease on a 500 square foot store in Buffalo in like a college district, and never looked back. Fell in love with it, never looked back, and embraced the internet very, very early. First was mail order. We did singles. 91 action pack gold cards. There'd never been an insert card like that before. And then in '96, when Upper Deck was doing game jersey cards, so we were wheeling and dealing these through like the Sports Collectors Digest, through mail order, and then we embraced the internet and eBay, and kind of grew from there, I suppose.
So this is going to be fun because as someone who's been around a long time, you've been around a little bit longer than I have, so you have a lot more history of the market, and you've really seen the evolution of the market from where it was to where it is now, and I would imagine you have a really good sense of where it's going. So talk me through maybe some of those early days of like mail-in orders. Was it just you and Dave? Like, when did you get employees? When did you go to shows? Like, what were some of those early days like?
So some stories I like to tell, and I've given some advice to people who've opened up new stores. Our rent, I think, was $600 a month. And I actually took an 800-count storage box and wrapped it with packing tape and cut a slot in it like a piggy bank. And every day we'd put $20 in there. So we knew we could pay our rent at the end of the month. And sometimes it was tough. Dave and I, because we were in this college area with a lot of bars that would have like free burgers at happy hour. Dave and I ate a lot of free a lot of free food because those were lean times.
Yep.
And so I look back on that, but I think once we started doing mail order, I started going to every major show in the country. And I remember saying to him, hey, there's this Kit Young thing in Hawaii. It's like 93. We're still putting money in a box.
Yeah.
There's this Kit Young thing at 92. I think I should go to this. So flew to Hawaii. And then you start meeting manufacturers and other dealers, and you start to get this network. And it really started to grow from there. 92 Bowman was something we were smart and we bought a lot of. And then we did 93 National, and suddenly we had like $35,000 in the bank. We didn't have to do the cardboard box anymore. And then we bought a bigger store, and it really went from there. And then people put up websites, and then eBay came along, and people dumped their websites to sell on eBay. And we were selling on eBay, but then we put up a website in like 1997, 98 with unopened boxes, and that was it. And then we went from there.
So 97 is the year you put your first box on the internet for sale.
97, 98. I should know, shouldn't I? I know my anniversary is May 15th, 1991, but I actually don't know the launch date for the website. I wonder if anybody at my company knows it.
That would be a great
I'm
thing.
gonna have to check.
All right, so you put on the first box on the website in 97. You're going to shows, you're selling on eBay. Mm-hmm. As you're building this, right? Like clearly this is something that has taken time. You sell a lot of boxes on the website now. Was there a point along the journey where you like looked at it and you're like, we got a lot of boxes? Like, was there like a maybe an aha moment as you're like building what you've now built?
So I think that, one of the things we did early on, which you probably know, is actually before we were buying a lot of new releases from the manufacturers, we'd positioned ourselves to buy the products they made that didn't work. We were buying closeouts.
Yep.
And the way I did that was, we were really the first dealers in the country to deal in the real high-end modern cards. So, we had the 97 Jordan Auto game jersey 1 of 23. I still have a picture of it in my phone. Blue swatch. I have no idea where it is. But we sold that card in 98 for $30,000. It was an all-time record. I think Ken Goldman told me 7-8 million now, that card.
Gosh.
And so, because we were going to shows with, a showcase full with like 4 showcases that add up to like $1 million, which is nothing like today.
Yep.
We met all the manufacturers, and they didn't want us to be distributors, but I said, what do you do with your extra stuff? And that's what became. We started buying closeouts, and we got out of the singles market dipped. And then one day I said, well, I think we need a bigger warehouse. And Dave said, why? What's coming? I said, 18 pallets. And he said, well, how big is a pallet? I said, I don't know. But I think it's a whole truck full of stuff. So that was the first aha moment. And we had to get a warehouse in like 3 days to start to get some of this stuff in. And then, now it's obscene. It's like multiple warehouses in different parts of the world. And I look at my inventory. It's like all of us in the business, our inventory is almost like our 401k.
Yeah, sure.
So I look at my inventory all the time, and I think it was even like a year ago I said, oh, I have a lot of inventory. But back then, that first truck delivery of 18 pallets, I'd love to tell you what the product is.
What was it?
You remember the 98 retro lunch boxes that Upper Deck made?
I was a little young.
Yeah.
My early
They're
days.
cool. They're worth a lot of money now, but that was
Really?
the first deal I ever bought, really, from them. It was,
Interesting.
98 retro lunch boxes, but each box was like this big, so it took up a lot of space.
Yeah, pallets full of those.
Yeah.
As someone that's been in it as long as you have, if you look back at those times, maybe, first warehouse, pallets, to now, what's maybe one thing that stands out to you as like the biggest difference then versus now that like really has caught your eye?
It's really difficult I'm going to answer the question a little bit in a different way. Myself and Tom Fish from Blowout and Buddy Sean over at Steel City,
Yep.
we would talk sometimes and say, geez, we're the biggest in the world at this. Why aren't we making any money? And I think around 2018, through the efforts of guys like Gary Vaynerchuk to grow the hobby, and people starting to look at cards as like alternative investments, and started getting out. They were outperforming the S&P, and it was about 2018, so not that long ago, that we started saying, okay, all right, this is good. And then Dave was getting married, moving away, so I bought Dave out at the end of 18. And then in 19, of course, the hobby really started to see mainstream appeal. And then COVID just pushed it into the stratosphere. So I can look at my business just in an 8-year gap, 9-year gap, and say, what an amazing difference. And I will take credit for being positioned to have a lot of unopened material to sell, but it was really guys like Gary Vee making the public aware that the hobby is a real thing, and then COVID suddenly changing the landscape for all collectibles. Now those two factors I really have contributed to where this business is and where my success came from.
That's amazing. Now, I joked about it in the intro, and you gave a little bit of context, but the name of the company is Dave and Adams, and I'm sitting here today with Adam. Where is Dave? Where's Dave?
Let me tell. So first of all, I get called Dave at least 400 times a year. I just answer to Dave now. There's dealers who called me Dave by accident a year ago, who now call me Dave over and over because they think it's funny. There's probably 30 of them. The story behind that is we started running ads in the Sports Collectors Digest together to buy like Sabres rookies and things together. We started doing that in 1988, pure Turgeon rookie cards.
Yep.
Jim Kelly, 87 tops, as the Bills were coming up. And I went to him. He's the only guy kind of my age doing card shows. I said, hey, do you want to do this together? He goes, what do you want? I said, we're going to call it Adam and Dave's Card Room. And we'll run these ads, and I'm still living at home. I said, and people call, and I'll have my mom say that we're like busy right now if I'm not there, and we're breaking like 85.6 O-Pee-Chee vending or something. And Dave, so that sounds great. And we'll split the cost of the ads. I think it's like $11 a week to run the ad. We'll split the cost of the ad. And Dave's in college and living in the dorms. And Dave says, I want to get phone calls too. That's the best part. That's when we can't put 2 phone numbers. I tell you what we'll do. We'll call it Dave and Adam's Card Room. He said, okay. And so because of that, half the world thinks my name is Dave. But that's where the name came from. But Dave got married, moved to South Carolina, still a very close friend, the nicest guy in the world. He's the guy who walks through the airport and sees 96 people he knows. I don't do that.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy. He's got a house in Aruba. He's got a house in South Carolina. He's doing amazing. He's still a friend. He might have gotten out of the business a little early.
Oh.
Maybe a little.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave. Little bit.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember all my early interactions, with, David Adams. Again, I bought my first ticket to the VIP party in 2015 in Chicago. I bought it through Kevin. Shout out Kevin.
Yep.
And I just remember coming by the booth, and it was always you two. And I just remember Dave, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I always felt like Dave was the quiet one, and you were always the personality. And every time I would come by, just always so welcoming. But yeah,
Dave was the nice guy, making sure there was enough money in the bank to pay the bills, and questioning me when I bought 18 pallets of something when the money was tight. Because the money would get tight.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I was the guy who, one thing that I tell people, and you may know this rule, is that if you're trying to make it in this business, and you're at the National, and you see someone from Fanatics or Upper Deck, or Panini in a bar, don't leave the bar. Get to know them a little. Don't be obnoxious. Get to know them a little. Become recognizable to them. Those are the people you want to know, who you want to like you, so that when you say, hey, I just opened the store, do you think I get like a case of everything? They're going to go, oh, I know you, sure. So that's what I've always told people. That might have been my best thing, in the hobby. You know everybody.
Oh, I don't know about everybody. You know everybody,
Yeah.
But I know a couple people. You've been doing it a while, and as you're going through, you've probably bought some really cool deals, some really cool cards, some really cool boxes. Any deal, any box, anything stand out to you as something that you look back on and be like, that's one of the coolest things I've bought in, your time in cards?
The first thing I ever bought was I bought the entire warehouse from the Northland Hockey Stick Company. They went out of business, and hockey players would send them a stick that they used if they used a Coho, but they're switching to Northland.
Yep. What
Northland did is you sent them the Coho with how you like the blade, because you'd have to curve your own blade back then. But Northland would just make you a stick just like the one you sent them. And they went out of business, and the managers lived in Buffalo, and they didn't get paid. So they took all the sticks to Buffalo and put them in a warehouse. And so I bought something like, Dave and I bought like 1,400 NHL game used sticks, Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr. And that was one of the first ads I ever ran selling anything. And for any of you who've ever tried to ship a game used hockey stick, here's how you do it. There's better ways, I'm sure now. We would wrap cardboard around the shaft, and we'd tape an 800 count storage box. Well, those have come up twice now, over the blade, and we'd ship them out that way. So that's the deal I remember most fondly, because that's the best deal. That's the biggest and best deal I ever bought.
That deal.
At that time. And then since then, like I said, you always remember. I remember my first big deal I ever did with Topps and with Upper Deck and Playoff and then Panini. So I remember all those.
Yeah.
I remember buying a bunch of 33 Gaudis that walked into a show once that I should have kept. That was my first big vintage deal I ever bought. That was '87.
So that's what I was going to ask you, is because you have sold some incredible boxes, cases, cards, you've done this so long, and you're such a big piece of the industry. Anything that stand out as something you wish you would have kept, maybe not opened, any kind of stories there?
I had probably a couple. I had a really almost gem mint. Looking back on it, it was probably a 7, but at the time, gem mint 54.5 Topps Gordie Howe card, and I needed beer money, so I sold it at the Monday Night Madness card show for $100. So that was the first card I remember selling that I regret having sold. And then, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I wish I'd kept that Jordan 97.8 autographed game jersey. Sold a lot of those.
Yeah.
Sold a lot of cards. We had at one time, we had 3 of the Jordan Precious Metal PMG Green. We had 3. Sold them for $25,000 a card. Oh. Now they're millions of dollars. So I can name a lot of things like that. It sounds like a lie. It's not. It's the truth. But those are tough.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's a particular box I regret saying. Well, I think of them all the time.
Yeah.
We had so much, $18, $19 hockey, and we're selling it for $10, $15 a box. And then I noticed a box on the floor. It was $600. It was
wow.
Mbappe or something. I was I should have kept that.
Yeah.
So it happened. I probably once a week. It happens all the time.
Yeah,
we'll say, oh, Bowman's not moving. We should lower Bowman. And Bowman jumps up 30%. 2 days later, I go, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
That's almost every day.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I can imagine with as much as you've bought and sold over the years, you probably have a lot of those stories like that. Now, you have built obviously an incredible online presence over the years, but you also have a major store in Buffalo now. In a world now where it has shifted so much to breakers, content creation, podcasts, so much digital online, how do you guys balance the in-store experience and the website experience? Because those are, while they are completely different, they are both under the same, they're both Dave and Adams.
So we have a few stores in different places. We have one in New York City. It's very different from the one in the Netherlands, which is very different from the one in Buffalo. The one in Buffalo is just community. It feels like community, but it's 44,000 square feet. So it's about half cards and it's about half fandom.
Yep.
Bills and Sabres.
Yep.
So the one in Buffalo, it's my baby. I may not even be in there once a month. The people who run that are so much better at retailing and merchandising than I ever was.
Yep.
but it still matters enough to me that I created Saturday Labubu Day at Dave and Adams. And there were like 50 moms and their kids in line yesterday before the store opened, to buy Labubus at secondary market prices. If you don't know what a Labubu is, look it up. It's a thing. And so that derived from me, and that's maybe not something that my team would say I should spend my time on.
Yep.
But it's a different demographic. It's something different. It gets people excited about the store who might have never been in there.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I don't know. It's not gonna change my life or the lives of any of the people who work for me.
Yep.
But it makes that store a little better.
Yep.
So we have events there. There's a bar in the store for when we have events.
Yep.
When we do Topps Rip Night, we get over 1,000 people. We did a Panini Rip Night just to see what would happen. I think we called it something different. We didn't take Rip Night, Topps Panini Collector Night, and I think we had also like close to 1,000 people. And I go to those, and that's great. That's community to me.
Yep.
New York was, what would it be like to try to open up a store in Manhattan with those kind of rents? Can it be done? And you go to that store, and we just have like $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 cards, and lots of unopened boxes in a breaker studio. It's all modern, and what's that going to be like? And that's done pretty well. So I wasn't sure if it would have been a good idea, but that's done pretty well. And the Netherlands store, which is my favorite story, is we wanted it. We thought Europe was an emerging market, so we want to have a website there. And all the manufacturers said, well, you should open a store. So we opened in Roermond, 50,000 people. It's not a big community, on the German border. It was easier for an American to open a business in the Netherlands than Germany, but I really wanted to be in Germany. This little town. And for the first year the store was open, people would walk in and have no idea what they were looking at. And then maybe 6 months later, they come in and buy a pack of Pokemon cards. And we would give them like a pack of Bundesliga Chrome. Thanks for coming in. And then started coming in families, people started coming buying blaster boxes and sleeves. And now, we had a trade night last month, 140 people showed up.
Wow.
In Roermond. And they're buying hobby and jumbo, and they're participating in breaks. So I say that Roermond in the Netherlands is the most sophisticated collecting community in Europe, because we've been there for over 3 years. And so these people know what a card store looks like and what that community is like.
Yeah.
And if you go an hour away, they don't know that. Now that's growing and that's changing.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
We have this crazy little, phenomenally advanced for the region card collecting community in the Netherlands.
How many stores do you guys currently have right now?
So we have the one in the Netherlands, New York, and in Buffalo, and then we run the Topps store in Cooperstown.
Gotcha. Run the Topps store in Cooperstown.
Topps store in Cooperstown. Yeah, Topps had wanted to open up a store, and their previous ownership didn't want them to. And so I said, well, I'll do it. And they wanted something like that. And so again, that's just, thousands and thousands of kids and their parents coming through, and they get a free pack of cards when they come in.
Yep.
We do pin trading.
That's cool.
So that's definitely more about growing the industry.
Yep.
than capitalism.
Probably more a part of the 10x plan for the hobby than
100%.
making
but
a bunch
that was
of money.
before Fanatics came along. But that's still Dave Liner and some of the Topps people had the foresight to say, we're really not, our ownership really doesn't want us to do this. Would you do this? And I said, yeah, it makes sense to me. And I love Cooperstown. If you've never been, it's an amazing community.
Really?
It's on a lake, beautiful, especially off season when it's not crazy. Yeah. Shout out to Cooperstown.
Have you, first national you went to in 93?
First national I went to was Atlanta.
Atlanta.
So that's 92.
92. Everyone
and
since?
I exhibited at 93.
Everyone since?
Everyone since, but I didn't have a table in Houston. Couldn't get a table in Houston because my priority was one. And then Houston, and then I shared a table in Houston. I think I shared a table even in St. Louis, and then after that we were fine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you've been to all of them.
COVID, we lost one for COVID, but otherwise, yeah, I've been to all
2020. Of them. You talked about it, especially in an eight-year period, right? So the market starts sizzling in 18.
Yeah.
Starts heating up. COVID changes it. It sets it on fire. A little bit of a market correction, but the National seems to have grown over the last 5 years, especially.
No doubt.
As you sit here today, we've got Fanatics Fest, we've got the National. if we're going to look out a year from now and we look back at, or we look ahead towards the market, the national, some of these big events, like what does the next 12 months look like in your eyes?
It's difficult I was texting some of my buddies who couldn't be here, who have been in this business for a long time, and it's difficult to explain to them how when you go to the Hyatt Hotel and you go up to the bar to meet some friends or whatever and just relax, and it's hundreds of young people wheeling and dealing. It's like a whole nother after hours national.
Yep.
And it's not an organized trade night necessarily. It is just the explosion that this hobby has had. That being a glass, half empty guy, I thought during 2022, I would say the other distributors, and how long do you think? Do you have 6 more months? And now, it's not going anywhere. There's this whole generation of, they're collectors and they're dealers. They're adding their PCs and selling and trading off their other cards. They're very, very savvy. I walked among them, and it's everywhere.
Yep.
You've been you did trade night, right?
Yeah.
How many people most people at one of your trade nights?
Oh,
thousands.
Yeah.
And lines to get in.
Thousands.
So that was not something you would have seen in 2018.
Yeah, the first one we ran was with Kentucky basketball cards. Jimmy was 2015 in Atlantic City.
Okay.
There were more pretzels than people, right? Like it was 30 people. It was an Instagram trade night. It was come trade with the people you deal with online, hang out in a safe space after the national.
Yeah.
And 30 people showed up. Like I've got pictures from the first one. Like it was just a couple people. Jimmy ripped a few boxes, hanging out, and that was it. And this year it's grown into something more. The national runs a lot more than now.
Right.
Like eBay has a full booth in there. There's a dozen plus companies set up in there. There's thousands of people that can't get in because it's at capacity. You have Doc Gooden shows up, and Grant Williams, the basketball players, walking around trade night. We did a coin flip before trade night. Like it just it's grown into something so much, and I think that's one thing I see a lot. A lot of my content is definitely aimed at a younger audience, and I don't know if a lot of people really understand how many young entrepreneurs are in the space. Like you can, a lot of people will say, well, they're flipping case hits, they're working on smaller margin. These kids are hustling. It
feels good, right?
Yeah.
Does it make you feel proud?
Yeah, when I started, when my journey started in cards, it was like I was definitely an outcast. Like if I went up to a table, like nobody had the time of day for me. You were a kid, you didn't have any money. It was very we're trying to sell stuff, like get out of here. And now it's a lot more like some of these kids have more, cards in their briefcases than I do. Like some of these kids have really good stuff.
Well, cards are cool now.
For sure. It's definitely changed, in society and socially in the last 5-7
and
years.
We saw the money and the finance and the interest in 2020, 21, 2022 doing this. And we started to see some of, you're talking about young entrepreneurs and new people in the space, but that just continued to grow.
Yep.
And that was unexpected to me, and I'm just blown away being here. If you haven't been to the National and you really want to see that what you're collecting, that what you're doing matters, come here. It's 100,000 people. And this is, living their best life, being card collectors and mini dealers and, breakers, etc.
And I think the National is great. I just, also with Fanatics and Fanatics Fest, like that's probably a lot closer for you guys, right? And it's like from 1 to 2 with Fanatics Fest, it exploded. I thought the first one was okay. The second one was incredible.
This is the world's greatest card show. Fanatics Fest is an experience not to be missed.
Yep.
I was set up next to F1 and their DJ. So it was loud.
Yeah, loud.
But I was thinking, I cannot believe F1 is set up next to my booth. So very, very different events.
Yep.
But equally exciting to be at.
Yep. Yeah. Thoughts on this? I have said this before when we've talked as a team. I think Fanatics Fest is Topps way to 10x the hobby.
100%.
I think it's their way to get sports and culture into cards.
Look, my friends at the other card companies, they don't necessarily like Fanatics. But for any of us who do this for a living, to think that the Fanatics marketing team and what they have done has not helped grow everybody's business, even indirectly, is crazy. They put so much energy and effort into it in everything that they do that even if you don't necessarily like them, whether you like them or not, they've been an unbelievable positive influence on the industry.
Yeah.
And they're very polarizing. You know, some people love them, some people don't.
For sure.
But what Michael Rubin and his team have done, continue to do, to create new collectors, you can't ignore it. It's been, what they've done is incredible.
Yep, agreed. Well, I think what you have done is incredible as well, right? You've been in this a long time. You have built something special. You have stores in the U.S., you have stores internationally, you have a major podcast, you have the biggest, if not, 1A, 1B, I'm going to say the biggest repack in the country with Hit Parade. You've built something incredible over time. But what's next?
There's 230 people who work there.
Wow.
I don't know all of them.
Wow.
I should. I'm a bad boss. I think international. Lots more international growth. There's still more Rormans out there waiting to be found. Probably go bigger cities now like we did New York, but there's still real potential out there around the world, and we hope to be some of the leaders in realizing that potential. So while the hobby is growing over here leaps and bounds, we're going to try to do our part to grow it in other markets that right now it's just starting.
Amazing. You said just started.
Yeah.
If you started over right now, my last question for you.
Okay.
You've been ups and downs through everything in 30 plus years. If you were starting over today, knowing what you know right now, what advice would you give yourself?
Yeah, okay. So I remember being given the advice, don't ever hire friends and family, because you can't fire them. You end up with a nephew or a brother or your high school buddy, your best friend in the world, and they're not good at their job. You're stuck with them for life. and I believe that. I did. I carried that business like that for a long time. And now everybody who matters to me is at that company. And I see my best friends and my family every day. So that's what I would have told myself. I'm getting emotional.
Yeah. I could tell.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really good advice. Like I said, I've said it before and I will continue to say it. You have built something really, really cool. Something I hope to one day build, even a fraction of what you have built. 230 people is crazy, right? All from scratch. And started in Buffalo. It's really cool to see. So I'm grateful for the time and for the friendship and for the mentorship as well. So thank you so much for coming on and sitting down.
Love it. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.